Wait, Siri.
Hey dames, it's your CEO Megan Conter here, and I'm here with my good friend Jenny Glick, who has been a dame since December of 2021. And she has a wealth of history and experience, which you can't tell by looking at her because she looks just like she was born yesterday. And she has had 25 years as a therapist and counselor and sex therapist. And now she is a mentor to women in midlife who are ready to live their lives in alignment with their inner knowing. And Jenny has a different approach to how to get the most out of your Dames membership for us. So Jenny is going to tell us a little story and how she transitioned through that story and what her journey looks like now. Jenny Glick, take it away.
Thanks, Megan. So good to be here. And thanks, all you dames. So, this conversation was born from a conversation I was having with Megan when I called her maybe 3 or 4 months ago. I messaged her and was like, Megan, I love you so much. And I think I'm going to quit the dames. And she was like, what is happening? And I know because I've been friends with lots of really cool dames that no longer are dames. And then I've talked to some dames who are like, well, I don't know. I'm not getting, what I maybe want out of the dame. So because my work is very depth focused, I do sort of depth psychology, somatic work, shadow work. I knew that my shadow was alive in this. Like I knew that because I could feel the part of me that was like, this isn't working for me. I don't even know why I'm spending this money. Like I could feel that story, right? That's a part. And there's a practice that we get to have as women, and many of us here in the Dames are kind of in midlife or beyond, where when we start hearing those stories in us, like I know the story that comes up that says somebody else is wrong. I've been married 25 years. I know that part where it's like, my husband's wrong. He didn't do it right. I would be happy if he did it differently. So I could feel that part being alive with the dames, like what just like entity, right, of the dames. And so I brought that into conversation with Megan and then also with myself, just like I have over the last many years with my husband and lots of other circumstances. And what has happened for me is it's really helped me not only expand my healthy ego. So Carl Jung is all about your healthy ego and how it is that when we do deep shadow work, what we're doing is we're expanding who we are, our light in the world, because we can only participate in the world consciously with the parts of ourselves that we know. And your shadow is what you don't know, you're denying, or you're repressing, right? And so part of my work over the last several months has been to pull some of that shadow forward so that your shadow's there if you feel yourself in that reactivity. And again, most of us as dames here, we are reasonably initiated women. So we've been through a lot with our businesses, with our families, with our own personal growth journey. So you probably have an idea of when it is that the part of you that's like, I'm mad, right? That she comes up and she's not wrong. There's nothing wrong with her. It is normal. And one of the things I love about Megan and the dames is that I could just say, hey, this is coming up. And Megan didn't get all like butthurt and angry. We had a conversation about it. And because, I hope I'm able to own it. Like I know part of it is me and what is it that I don't want to see. And so I'll tell you what I didn't want to see in me is that I've been running my business for 20 years. And I was in this moment where I wasn't sure where I fit because I'm 52. In the last 2 years, I've been in a place of like, I really need to nourish myself. I've gone through a lot of physical change in the last several years, migraines, physical stuff happening. And so when I would show up on calls and it was like, what it felt like to me was like pushing me to do more. And I was like, I can't do any more. Like, I'm just trying to get through right now. And then I started making a story, right? My story was making the dames wrong, like they're pushing and I don't want to do it. So I was able to watch all of that and see that. And then to say, hear myself say to myself, I don't know where I fit. And that for me, I was like, boing, hello, shadow. Like that's such an old thread that I have. And because I've worked with women for 25 years, I know I'm not alone. That we often, many of us have sister wounds, we have belonging wounds. I've certainly had feelings where I've connected with dames on, like potential power partner kind of things. And then they leave the dames. And then I'm like, hold on, like I'm here and I'm doing this thing. And so all of that is to say, I'm not trying to make anybody wrong, but just to like turn the rock over a little bit so that we can have a conversation. Because if I don't talk about the things underneath here, then I can't make them conscious so that they're no longer ruling my life. And then I'm not bouncing from one networking group or one incubator for magnificence or one, women's support group, whatever, to another one, never able to find what it is that I'm looking for. Because, of course, we all know, we've all been on Instagram. We know that the truth is inside of us. We all know, we've read enough spiritual texts that we take ourselves to wherever we go. And because I've been in the Dames for 4 years, I love Megan and so many of the women who are in this space and who've been willing to make this our home. And if we're going to make it our home, it means that our mucky parts are going to come up. And for me and the work that I do, that's a hallelujah moment. When I work with women and when I work with couples and their, garbage or baggage, whatever they call it, comes in, I'm like, yes, please. Let's be with this without shame, without blame. Nobody's wrong. Nobody's judging you. We all have it. And so, what I'd love to, have a conversation about in the dames with other dames that you talk to, rather than the conversation, if people are having it, of like, oh, here's how it's not working for me. It's like, oh, here's the pattern I'm seeing in myself where I'm shutting down. Right. That was for me. I was shutting down, I was pulling away, and then I was dropping into a really familiar story of how it is I don't belong. I also was in this business, like shifting where I didn't know what to ask for. So it's like, oh, this such a great tool that we have to have big asks of each other. And when I was in those groups, my ask was like, could you make my migraine go away? Could somebody, like I actually just need a couple of clients right now because I can't do so much of what I need to do to kind of get to the next level, even though that wasn't the appropriate ask. And then just feeling like I was sort of swirling during that time. And so I gave myself lots of time and space, because we need nourishment, right? From my perspective, we don't need nervous system regulation. We need nourishment. And now that I'm deeply nourished over the last year plus, I am a real creative fountain, right? And so I'm much more available. And so with all of this, the last several months, I have connected with some extraordinary dames. I'm in conversation with a couple of them to start new pods for the dames that's deeply aligned to who I am, because I gave myself that time and space for deep nourishment, which PS was why I started the Pleasure Pod, Lori Handlers and I, 2 years ago, was because I was moving in my business from a place of hustle and productivity to a place of pleasure. So that was like my attempt to find those other people who wanted to try to grow their businesses from a place of nourishment. So I'm going to pause there because I have a lot to say about this, Megan. Did I miss anything? What else would you like me to add? You're muted, my dearest
That
love.
would be true. I was trying to make sure that nobody was hearing me slurp my drink. So I think that you've covered all the grounds, except maybe when someone decides to plug themselves back in,
Mm.
how do you recommend they approach that?
Yeah. So one of the things that I did on your recommendation was I refilled out what's that called? Like my membership,
Power
my
partner
power
form.
partner. Yep. And I also, like, newsflash, just started being really straight up about what I want. So my next couple of the last two power partner meetings I had, I was like, hey, I'm available. Like, I'm on the market for power partners. And I think in the begin, I know in the beginning, even though I did all the power partner trainings, I'm a good student, I did all the things, I was meeting people and I was sort of like, well, I mean, I don't know, maybe we're not sure. And so then it felt like it wasn't going anywhere, but I wasn't making myself available. And what's funny is I have a 24-year-old son, and I say this to him too with women. I'm like, don't like, ninny foot around about it. Like, if you're into her, say it. Like, just be straight up and say what's going on. And so I have the last two times, and it feels really good. And both of the women are like, I'm super interested also. And what's the best way to connect? Oh, text. Let's get each other's phone numbers. And now we're connecting via text. So I feel like very immediately, I've already started creating those relationships. And then I also reached out to a couple of other dames that I've really loved, but we've just have fallen off, and said, let's start meeting more regularly. And is there a way that we could maybe collaborate and offer something quarterly as a conversation starter with the dames? And so that's felt really good. And one of my former dames friends who loves the dames, but it just didn't fit for her, I've been in conversation with her. And now she's like, well, maybe I'm going to join back, because just in having a conversation, not that I'm trying to like sell anybody on it, but I know that entrepreneurship, like long-term committed relationship, there is so much personal growth that we can do in this. There's so much shadow, and it's hard enough to see our shadow in marriage. Like, I know that, very intimately, but to see our shadow in our business with other women, are you kidding me? I'm trying to move out of the light. The sun's coming in. It's a really big deal, and it's really cool. And so any of you dames that are into that, like, that is my jam. Like, my business and my partnerships in real life, those are the places where I'm going to grow the most. And I want to see the parts of me that I'm pretending aren't there. For me, that's like my kink, Lori Handlers. That's my version of it, is like really getting to know the parts of myself that I don't want to see. And I just, props to Megan that she was available for that in September and didn't get, her shadow didn't come in like, oh my gosh, Jenny is doing this. And I thought she was a friend. She didn't go into that. She was able to hold me in that so that I could really drop into what was coming up for me. And now I do feel clearer in my business because I was willing to go through that bumpy moment.
So what I hear is that you have stepped into the dames as being an incubator for your personal growth, the good and the bad, and that you've gotten clear on your business, your power partners, and you're allowing yourself to vet in and vet out certain people, because that is, that's part of it, right? Is like the whole thing that you were saying of before, when you were wishy-washy about things, you weren't allowing yourself to say no to some people,
Right.
and to just be honest with yourself to say, I just don't feel like there's collaborative possibility here. And so why would we kind of like waste each other's time when I know that there are other people out there who are immediate vet ins.
Mm-hmm.
So that clarity is what's really important. And we need women who are willing to be clear, whether
Mm-hmm.
that means saying no when we're not used to that and practicing that. And then we need women who are willing to incubate their personal growth as well as their professional growth.
Mm-hmm.
Will you talk about just one quick thing, which is right scaling?
Mm-hmm.
So when you hear that the Dames is really for those women who are, yes, growing their businesses, and also, and almost even more importantly, right scaling their business. And what does right scaling or right sizing a business mean to you?
So to me, it's a new concept because I'm coming off of always feeling like I had to do the most. Like, if I'm at multiple six figures, I need to be going to seven, and then I feel like a fail. And then that was part of my Dame's tidal wave dishwasher thing that I was in, because I felt like I was failing, which is nobody's fault. That was me. This is all me, right? This is all me. That's like, you want to see your shadow? Like, join a women's networking group. Like, watch it show up. Watch where you're not going to show up. You're not going to commit. You're not going to follow through. You're not going to ask for what you want. Same in marriage, watch where I disappear myself, where I blame my husband, where my, garbage judgment comes out at him. Like, that's just the nature of the game. And so, right scaling literally is a brand new in my body. Like I've heard of it, but to and I don't know that I could have been here for me 2 years ago because I still was so gripped with fear and feeling like very quietly like I needed to prove something. And now that I recognize that wealth for me, like money's one little piece of it because I have this amazing life that's so spacious that so many beautiful things, and money is a piece of it. And so my form of right scaling is going to feel so good on my not nervous system, my nourish system. My system's going to feel so nourished and not that like, okay, I have to do a launch every month and I have to, right? Like that, which I can go into because I have been very conditioned to be the type A, woman that really got a lot of my I got fed. I got a lot of atta girls for being the best and for making the most. And now that I'm really nourished and I know who I am and I feel like I'm very aligned, my business is a part of me, but I don't need to go there to be nourished. I go there to create, to provide nourishment, but I no longer create, offer, sell, market. I don't do anything from a malnourished place. So today's a Monday, and we had a very busy weekend with things that were beautiful. And I was feeling a little resentful yesterday because I helped my husband do something all day for his business, which was great. But then I was like, I didn't get a day for me, blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, oh, Monday's my day for me. I'm going to meet with Megan. Like, that's what's going to happen because I'm not going to scale my business. I could sit here and write and do a bunch of things. I'm no longer available to do that for me and my business unless I'm doing it from a very nourished place. And for me, that's right scaling, whether it's one more client in a year or two. Like, I don't know, but what's primary for me is nourishment. And when I'm nourished, shocker, I'm not blaming anybody for things not going well.
Absolutely. So, do you have any final words of wisdom, Mrs. Glick?
Totally. So I was just talking about these two different ways, right? Like before, I was really in this, what I think of as like track A, where I was forcing myself, I was trying to prove, I was going to a lot of Dames things and doing all the right things. And I was doing that, trying to get some external outcome so that I would feel successful or have the connections externally. But it was really founded on fear and anxiety and worry and creating a lot of busyness for myself because I was so used to being a busy, tired, working mother that even though my son has been out of the house many years, I was just recreating that pattern, this like track A. And this is what most of us do. I know this, working in psychology for all of these years, that this is what most of us do. And this is life, right? Is this sort of track A, rinse and repeat. And what I believe is possible for us is a track B. There are many, many tracks, but a track B for a lot of us women in midlife who are entrepreneurs and professional women, a place where we're deeply nourished here so that we can start to experience the kind of life that we believe we will get if we keep doing it harder and faster. That's what we're trying to get on this track A, but it's a lie. It doesn't work. And I think a lot of us in the Dames like know that it doesn't work, but because we haven't crossed this bridge to come over to track B, what I see happens is we keep doing more of track A because we think if we do more of it or hire another coach, then it'll work for us. But we have to go into this no woman's land, which is shadow, which is unconscious, which is self-reflection, which is being available for candid feedback from a beloved dame or another friend of yours, a sister, a therapist, a mentor, to show up, to shine the light on what you can't see. Because by definition, you can't see what you can't see. I don't see what's back there, but Megan does. And other of my power partners and girlfriends who are colleagues in my profession, they can see it for me. So if I'm willing to see that, then that becomes the pathway to this track B, where we get to feel supported, loved, connected, all the things that we want to feel. And we can only feel them when we have thinking, feeling, believing, and doing, and an energetic expression that's aligned with that, um, in this track B state. So I feel very impassioned about, supporting women to get there, women who are in the dames and power partners, because we're all going to have bumpy moments, and that's fine. That's part of it. Fear is going to come up, anxiety is going to come up, and how it is that we meet that moment, I believe it's as a creator, like, how do I create with that moment rather than reacting to it like a problem? That's a very track A way to be in it, as opposed to take it and to say, okay, I'm going to create with this and create this track B experience instead.
Mm, yummy. Love it. And you have a worksheet that people could use to come up with that track A, track B, right? So we'll make sure we'll put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. That's not this. We'll put it in this module so that ladies can have that if they want to brainstorm how do they move from track A to track B,
Mhm.
just as a thought.
That
And that'll
sounds
be a little gifty gift.
a little gift for you. Thanks so much. Thanks, Megan. Thank
Thank
you
you
to the
all.
James and everyone who is willing to commit to this as a professional home.
Yes. Thank you, Jenny Glick. I love you.
I love you too.